morning, each and everyone. I'm here to present the presidential speech under the administration of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte at the plenary session of the Forum of the International Discussion Club, further seen from the S, delivered at the 1389 Polyana Hotel, Valday Hall in Sochi, Russia on October 3, 2019. President Putin, heads of states, the Valday Discussion Club, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. For over two decades after the end of the Cold War, Philippine foreign policy hardly evolved. Russia, for instance, remained on the margins of our diplomacy. I viewed this as an oversight strategic proportion, a result of bureaucratic inertia, a symptom of blind attachment to bygone views and assumptions, and of massive failure to grasp change and seize new opportunity. The Filipino nation, of course, deserved better. Thus, when I assumed the presidency in 2016, I vowed to correct this in 2017. I visited Russia for the first time. Although it was cut short, I believe it led to meaningful and historic development relations. When I say it was cut short, I had to go home because the Marawi, the city of Mindanao in the Philippines, was a growing, evolving into an endless violence. We intend to stay on this path, and that is why I am very glad to be here for the second time. I thank President Putin for the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to a robust and comprehensive Philippines-Russia partnership. And I am also grateful to the Valday Discussion Club for this honor to speak before you on a topic great importance to us, that of order and change in world politics. I'm talking about the fairness and equality for stable global order. The liberal global order built after the Second World War was the Pax Americana, appears to be under challenge as the 21st century unfolds. The legitimacy of this order is increasingly questioned. Its appeal weakened and its hold over countries diminished. I see two key factors that could explain this situation. First is the combination of exceptionalism and double standards that we have seen time and time again and again. From the very beginning vanguards of this current order, the great Russian novelist Lev Tolstoy wrote, "All happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way." This is the same line for nations, developing countries like the Philippines, with our own histories, face different challenges and our problems that would require different sets of solutions. Yet, some so-called friends act like they know the answer to our problems and the previous to our specificities, socio-economic and political condition. They create rules and norms for almost everyone, and some refuse to be bound by the same. Think of the UNCLOS, the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, and even the Convention of the Rights of the Child. They weaponize human rights oblivious to its damaging consequences. To the every people they seek to protect, just look at the chaos and instability that ensued in Libya and Iraq following military interventions. Closer to home, some of our partners have hurled unfair criticism against my government about perceived excesses in our fight against drugs. They say what they want to see to justify their preconceived notions, and not trying to understand what they want to see to justify their preconceived notions, and not trying to understand that what truly is happening is there in my country. Is this how friends treat each other? We have seen them backtrack from defense contracts over baseless apprehensions that we would use arms to violate human rights. Yet you see the same countries supplying high-end weaponry to parties whose actually human rights record leaves so much to be desired. But we only seek to protect our republic from those who wish to tear it apart. We only seek to curb criminality that corrodes that every structure of government. We only seek to build a credible defense against those who might be tempted to violent or territorial integrity. Is this not something that all nations are entitled to? Is this not a democratically elected governments are mandated to do? By their acts, they weaken my government's ability to protect law-abiding citizens from the outlaws. They limit our capacity to stop the vicious cycle of internal conflict and underdevelopment, and they clip our wings, making it more difficult for us to effect meaningful change for our people. Now, let me ask you this. In what universe is this right? Justifiable or fair? Now we're but in the self-contained bubbles of some societies that had the luxuries of developing first. We are tired of the misguided and self-serving crusades of the few. It is time that they are challenged. Let me be very clear. I am not against the United States and or the West. The US is a close friend to the Philippines. In fact, our only treaty ally. We have deep ties with the American people, forged by shared history and nourished by common values. America certainly can offer so much more to the world. Let me stress, I am not against liberalism. In politics as in the economy, liberalism to my mind creates the best pathways to a just and fair society. For a thriving democracy like the Philippines, there is simply no other better alternative to a philosophy that puts premium on the freedom and dignity of the individual. Our issue is not the current global order, but rather the action of certain actors that violate the very principle that underpin this order. The Philippines does not ask for special treatment nor favors from its partners. It does not seek exemption from the norms and principles that have kept the peace in our world for decades. What we seek, I assume, what the Russian people and all nations also desire. And fairness, equality, and mutual respect, we want a strengthened rules-based order where countries, big or small, are treated the same. We want unimpeded freedom guaranteed by our Constitution to exercise our right to govern ourselves as a people and as we saw it fit. And we want friends and partners to respect our independence to make sovereign decisions just as we respect theirs. The principle of respect of state sovereignty, non-intervention, and the peaceful resolution of disputes must be upheld at all times, otherwise the others unravels. This is crucial, especially now with the rise of the new powers and the relative decline of the old. The geopolitical shift is the second challenge to the current global order. In the remaining 3 years of my term, we will likewise expand the horizon of the Philippines diplomacy by deepening our engagement in Latin America, Africa, and Central Asia. It is also high time that the Philippines look at the Middle East West with fresh eyes going beyond oil and overseas Filipino workers. As one of the fastest growing economies in the world, the Philippines will assume our twin responsibility of sustaining the growth of our people while helping other developing countries in their own journey to progress. We will strengthen our economic ties with these regions, opening new markets, and with it, the free exchange of ideas, technologies, and innovation. For I want the Filipino people to broaden their worldwide view, to be enriched by the culture and intellectual tradition for the old civilization for the Americas, Africa, Central Asia, and the Middle East. Indeed, porcalism and isolationism have no place in the world that is getting smaller and smaller by the day. We have to embrace our shared destiny if we are to overcome the essential challenges of our time. But make no mistakes, while we recognize the interdependence of nations, we hold firstly so cross-sunk our own independence. Openness to cooperation without precondition is the answer to the serious threats we face. Today, from terrorism to climate change, from migration issues to refugee crisis, and from new pandemics to looming shortages of vital resources. These are multi-dimensional problems that cut across of national identity, human rights, development, and sovereignty. Clearly, we have no choice. We have to act together to survive, prosper together. So instead of using this issue as tools to maintain the status quo, to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, or some wealthy nation or won't do that, we don't help each other. If we pursue genuine cooperation, we need not choose between sustaining development and protecting the environment, between promoting diversity and maintaining national identities, or between upholding human rights and preserving local social order. Balancing these seemingly contradictory goals is the fundamental challenge of our time. In this context, our United Nations must step up and reinvigorate global efforts toward creative solutions commensurate to the complexity of our common problems. But it must do so while upholding the principles and ideas that all nations and not only individuals hold dear. This is also the opportune time for us in the global south, those who choose to be non-aligned, to ensure that we remain relevant more than making our voices heard on issues that deeply affect us. We must act together. Your Majesty, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we all have a stake in a stable order. In this period of flux, it is important that we expand our notion of ourselves to include others, that we choose the enduring power of persuasion over coercion, and that we follow the path of peace in order to achieve our shared and noble aspiration for our people. We only peace for all mankind. Thank you.